Hi y'all, welcome back to the Tiny Texan Cooks kitchen. Today we're going to be making an authentic Italian dish called chicken rollatini. Stay tuned. About 15 years ago, could have been longer, I was having dinner at a friend's house and his 80-year-old Italian mother was there, and she was cooking genuine Italian food. She was a very interesting lady. She had been a child in Italy during World War II under the dictatorship of Mussolini. So she had a lot of interesting stories and perspectives. But she was cooking some wonderful food, and she had made chicken rollatini, which I'd never had before. It's not something that you normally get when you go to Italian restaurants. And she actually made hers with polenta. And the only reason I'm not making polenta today is because the grocery store did not have polenta in the dry form. And I've tried making polenta out of masa and different types of cornmeal, and for whatever reason, the consistency of the boxed polenta is what you need, so don't try to make it with other cornmeals. But they do have arborio rice, which is risotto, and I think that'll be just as good. The funny thing is, though, I asked her for the recipe, and she was reluctant and actually resistant. She would not tell me the recipe, and I find that funny in that generation, that your recipes are a prized possession, and it was probably rude of me to ask for the recipe. I don't know. But I did go do a little bit of research and find some different recipes for rollatini, and I've been making it my own version of it ever since then. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my version of rollatini along with some really good risotto. These are the ingredients that you're going to need for the chicken. These are two thin sliced fillets of chicken breast. So these are probably cut in half lengthwise. I'm making these servings today for two, so adjust your quantities to what is needed. This is a honey goat cheese. You can use any kind of goat cheese you like. You can also use a Boursin cheese would be good with this. But I run across this honey, and I thought that it would go very good with these pecans. This is the next ingredients. These are very finely chopped Texas pecans. I also have one piece of bacon. This bacon has been cooked medium. I wouldn't say it's well done. I didn't want to make it extra crispy just because it's going to cook a little bit inside the chicken. And to batter the chicken, we're going to do a traditional flour. This has been lightly salted, one scrambled egg, and some breadcrumbs. I used panko. You can use whatever kind of breadcrumbs you'd like. Now for the risotto, we're going to be using arborio rice. That's what risotto is. So this is only going to be about maybe 3 servings of risotto. You don't want to have a lot of leftovers for risotto because it tends to get mushy. It doesn't do well reheated. So just make as much arborio rice as you're going to need for one sitting. We're also going to add some Parmesan cheese in that, some chicken broth. I'm using bouillon. Feel free to use broth if you'd rather, but as I've mentioned before, the chicken bouillon is very salty, so if you're going to be using bouillon, be sure and adjust the salt that you add. Some coconut milk, fresh cloves of garlic, as well as some fresh basil. You're going to want to prep the chicken breast prior to making the risotto. The risotto actually takes a little while to cook, so what we're going to do is get the oil started at the same time that we start the risotto, but ahead of time. You can make this in advance if you'd like. We're going to prep the chicken, roll it up. I'm going to start by salting the inside. The outside is going to have the salted flour, so you're not going to need to salt that, but the inside will need it. We're going to add a little bit of this honey goat cheese. right in the center. Maybe spread that flat just a little bit. And I think it would be better to put the goat cheese, if there is a bigger side, as you can see there is on these, to put the goat cheese on the larger size of the chicken. Like that. And then we're going to generously sprinkle the pecans on there. Go. And the bacon. So this is all that's going to go inside of the chicken. And then we're going to try to roll this up and keep all of the goodies inside of it. There's my Blue back there. She wants to be the taste tester. Okay. Feel free to use less stuffing. Make this easier on yourself. Okay, so I'm going to roll that up in there and then pin it closed with a toothpick. On to the next one. Get in there. Okay. And then we'll pin this one closed as well. The flour and egg batters will hold the corners in just a little bit. Okay. Got that. And next, I'm going to dunk it in flour. On the ends, if you can get it as well. The flour kind of works like glue. From there, we're going to go into the egg mixture. Okay. And from there, we're just going to coat all of that in your breadcrumbs. And we'll repeat this for the second one. No one's ever accused me of using too excess ingredients. I've always been kind of sparing, but feel free to use excess if you'd like. I just feel like you're going to end up throwing most of it away, but this looks like just enough to coat 2 pieces of chicken. Okay, so here are your 2 rolled and breaded pieces of chicken. At this stage, you can put them into the refrigerator and save them, or you can get your oil heated up and get started right away. All right, so here's where the timing comes into play. On the right side, I have a skillet that has some vegetable shortening mixed with some olive oil. I find that that cooks the best. I also have in this container my pre-breaded chicken breasts that have been stuffed, rolled, and breaded in both flour and panko, and then I threw them in the refrigerator. So they're still a little bit cold. I'm hoping that by the time this gets up to the right temperature, they'll be cooled down, but you can see that it's starting to steam up a little bit. This is the container where I'm going to be making the risotto, and for the risotto, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. And I'm going to brown all of this arborio rice in the olive oil. So the risotto is cooked very similarly to the way that Lebanese rice is cooked. We're going to brown it, Spanish rice as well. So we're going to get the arborio just to the point to where it's a little bit translucent. And then I have already chopped the garlic. I'm going to add the garlic because if you add the garlic in the beginning, garlic will burn and then it turns bitter after it burns. So we don't want to overcook the garlic. The grease looks like it might be ready. I'm going to drop the chicken breast into it. The risotto is not like normal rice. The risotto is very starchy, so you can't just add water to it and let it cook the way that you would for normal rice. Risotto is going to have to gradually have water added to it, keep stirring, add more liquid. We're going to add coconut milk, add some chicken broth, move it around that way. And this chicken, we're going to let it brown on all 4 sides. And then I'm going to cover it with a lid just to make sure that the inside of the cook's done. And it looks like the risotto might be getting just a little bit opaque. You can see that I've turned the chicken breast onto one of their sides. So one of their sides is done, the second side is cooking. And now the arborio rice is beginning to look opaque from the oil. So I'm going to add in the chopped garlic. And we'll let the garlic cook in there a little bit before we start adding the liquid. I know it's not that easy to tell from this camera angle, but now the risotto is starting to brown. I can smell the garlic cooking. I'm going to add half of the can of coconut milk to it. Stir that in. Oh, it really just smells wonderful. I'm also going to add some chicken broth to it. And you can see in here on the back one, the chicken breasts are on their third side. I've got one more side to cook for those. The chicken breasts are done. I'm going to take them out. And as you can see, the risotto is boiling next to it. I probably should have started the risotto sooner. The chicken cooked a little bit faster than I wanted, but that's okay because the chicken is going to continue to cook for a few more minutes sitting there. And what I'll probably do is just put it inside the microwave, not to microwave it, but to just let it retain the heat and make sure it doesn't cool off too much while this risotto finishes cooking. Okay, so you can see the risotto has gotten very thick and cauldron-like. So I'm going to add some more of the chicken broth. Actually, I'm going to add all of it. So far, I have only added about half a can of coconut milk. I think that's probably going to do it. I think this is plenty of liquid. And what I'm going to do is allow that to come back to a rolling boil, put the lid on it, and then let it simmer in that state for about 10 more minutes. Okay, so this has been about 10 minutes of sitting, and you can tell it has absorbed all of the liquids. I added a little bit of salt in the meantime, and I'm going to turn off the heat and add the Parmesan cheese. Use at your discretion, but I'm going to be adding just a little bit of the chopped basil as well. And that's going to be so yummy.